The operation began at 3 a.m. at Kinori in Meru County, where the officers from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission searched the premises. They later escorted former Tharaka Nithi Governor Samuel Ragwa to Giampampo in Tharaka Nithi County, where they conducted a further search before leaving at 11 a.m. with the documents. The former governor is urging the county government leadership to focus on development instead of engaging in witch hunt.
Doing all manner of things to discredit anybody whom they think can be an opponent. I know in December, the issue of the generator was blocked. It was blocked, it was magnified, ikaisha. Na watu wakafikiria that is a foregone conclusion. Now, the ESC people, I don't know whether, I'm just assuming they're doing their duty. But I know, being a politician, and the things which have been happening within our county, we started by saying there was no money which was left in the county. And I have a document with me here, which they have also perused, showing that we left 96 million within the county of Tharaka Nithi County. Is documented by the Assumption of Office Committee.
He said the raid should clear many doubts over how he acquired his property. Ragwa says it is unfortunate the 96 million shillings he claims he left in the county government account may have been embezzled.
5 MCAs were arrested and detained at Mtito police station following chaos that erupted at St. Joseph's Girls Kibwezi during the unveiling of a new principal. Police officers had to intervene after local community and the MCAs blocked the newly posted principal, Rose Kiragu, and education officials from accessing the school premises. The MCAs are Nicholas Maitha, Jadis Kalunda, Abanas Wambua, Janet Ngina, and Miriam Musyoka, and they are expected in court tomorrow. In West Pokot County, students of Kapenguria Boys High School woke up in the morning not ready for classes. The agitated students marched through the streets of Kapenguria in West Pokot, demanding the immediate reinstatement of their principal, James Omayo, who has since been transferred to Makunga Boys High School in the neighboring Trans Nzoia County. Their attempt to access the office of the County Director of Education was thwarted by police, who used tear gas to disperse them. However, the students vowed not to attend any lessons, forcing the County Director of Education, Jared Obiero, to shut the school. Parents who visited the school led by John Aengwo called on the government to revoke the transfer of the principal, claiming he was the brains behind the school's success in the national examinations.
Our principal, Kapenguria Boys, did very well. He only served as a principal for less than 1 year. And I thought TSC would reward him. I didn't know when you do well and when your school excels, you are removed, you are taken. Parents, we are now uncertain where to go to. All our resources we are pumped into school, but now we do not know where we are heading to.
But in Saboti Sub-County of Trans Nzoia County, the situation was totally different in Sukwo Primary School. Parents were up in arms demanding the immediate transfer of the headmistress, whom they accuse of poor management. Led by Alexander Cherogon, the parents locked the school's administration office, blaming the headmistress for the poor performance of the school.
Tangu hii shule ianzishwe tangu hii shule huyu mama haingia, hajawahi fanya mikutano hata moja kati ya wasasi na kamati ya shule, hajawahi fanya.
The parents have issued an ultimatum that no learning will take place in the facility until the headmistress is out.
Hawa wazazi wamefunga the whole thing. Kungekuwa na ofisi ya mwalimu mkuu imefungwa, ofisi sisi tunge access books and chalk and then we could continue. So those are some of the things ambazo tuweze tuka access. Kama hawa sasa wangekuwa wazuri wako hapa, wakikubali kutufungulia sisi ofisi. Hao wakitaka kufunga ofisi ya mwalimu mkuu hao wafunga, lakini walimu waweze kufanya kazi kwa sababu tayari wameonyesha kwamba hawataki walimu wote.
This is the second attempt for the parents to try kicking out the headmistress. On 2nd January this year, students joined them in a demonstration when the schools were opening for the first term, demanding that the head teacher be transferred. Reporting for Channel 1 News Hour, I'm Ron Cliff. Audit.
19 days left to the 30th of January, the D-Day, announced by NASA for the swearing-in ceremony for its leaders. One of the coalition affiliate parties, Ford Kenya, is accusing Jubilee operatives of frustrating efforts for talks.
It is not possible to shake hands with somebody with a clenched fist. Neither can you clap with one hand.
The party, through its leader Moses Wetangula, has subsequently urged the government to drop its hard stance on the talks, vowing that the coalition will proceed with its plans to swear in Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka in case the talks fail to materialize.
As a party, we are focused towards the People's Assembly. I think you know that. And very soon, we are working out on strategies on how to do the swearing in of the People's President, who is Raila Amolo Odinga.
If Jubilee are willing to talk, we are. If they are not willing to talk, we have no shortage of options.
Wetangula has also revealed that NASA was holding talks to solve the disquiet occasioned by claims of being shortchanged in appointments to parliamentary committees and House leadership posts as claimed by Wiper Party.
Hayo ni mambo ambayo tunaendelea kusungumuza kama vyama vine ya ODM, Ford Kenya, Wiper, ANC. Wiper ina haki ya kusema hawajatendewa haki kama hivyo ndivyo wanafikiria, na zote tumekubaliana tutaketi tuongee. Jumatatu tutakuwa na mkutano wa mimi na Raila na Kalonzo na Musalia.
Ford Kenya has also dismissed claims that its deputy party leader Richard Onyonka had rubbished plans to swear in NASA leader as the people's president, insisting that he was quoted out of context.
Ford Kenya inazingatia uhuru wa kikatiba wa kila mwananchi kuwa na mafikira yake, kuwa na usemi wake, na kuwa na marafiki zake.
And he wants to come and confirm that the media misquoted him. Okay? He was actually misquoted, you know?
Elsewhere, a section of Kisii professionals and the business fraternity wants the president to consider appointing another cabinet secretary from the region.
Hicho ni kitu kikubwa sana, na hii ni kusema ya kwamba rais na naibu wake Bwana Ruto wanaheshima sana kwa Bwana Matiang'i.
Of the 6 cabinet secretaries who were retained is Dr. Fred Matiang'i. Samson Kitavi, Channel 1 News.
The operation, which began at B Club in Kilimani area, caught many patrons unawares as a team of National Environment Management Authority officials moved in to issue notices of closure over noise pollution caused by loud music.
NEMA has continued to receive numerous complaints, and what we did is that we have tried to engage these facilities before, and they've failed to comply with the noise regulation, and that is why today we came to actually close them.
The team, accompanied by security officers, then proceeded to Kiza Club in the same building where a similar notice was issued.
These clubs had been served with orders before to ensure that they comply with the noise regulation, because ideally they are all located in areas that are considered residential, and they are required to comply with 30 to 35 decibels. And all of them, as we have seen, is that they have sound amplifying equipment, and none of them is soundproofed. So ideally, this the sound and the music has become a problem to the residents around, which has led to a lot of complaints from members of the public.
Space Club along Gong Road was not spared either, with the officials encountering some resistance from its employees, who argued that the club abides by the set regulations, dismissing claims of playing loud music. On the opposite side of the road, the officials also delivered a closure notice to Jiweke Tavern. Though there were no patrons at the time, an employee defending the club saying they only play music below 30 decibels.
One thing, when you make always the problem. So,
Nairobi County Director of Environment Njoki Mukiri warned that if the clubs fail to adhere to the set regulations, they will face legal consequences.
We will close them until they can demonstrate to the authority that they can soundproof the facilities to the required standards and that they can maintain the permissible levels in terms of noise.
She said they will carry out another crackdown on Friday to find out if the club's management have complied with the notices.
If they fail to comply, what we are going to do is that we are going to take enforcement action. And like you have seen is that we have received a lot of support from the Kilimani police, and what we will do is that we will go ahead and make arrests, and we'll have to align them in court of law.
NEMA plans to carry out similar operation in various parts of Nairobi to clamp down on the rogue club operators. Emily K. Bade for Channel 1 News Hour.
Speaking outside the Garissa mortuary after taking the body of the infant for burial, the father Abdullahi Sheikh said Mahat was sleeping by a mother's side at the time of the incident. Their efforts to track down the hyena were futile as darkness was falling. They later found the body in a bush some kilometers away. The community now wants the Kenya Wildlife Service to address the matter.
Na wote KWS kila wakati tuna report na hawaweki hawashughuliki sana. Sijawahi kuona mtu ambaye imeripoti akipeleka baada ya siku 2 siku 3 anakuja kuandika tu na kuacha tu hivyo.
A herder in Kitengele is counting losses after 10 of his sheep were reported to have been killed by a marauding lion. The incident is reported to add to the statistics of the number of sheep attacked, with villagers claiming the number stood at 50. They are now demanding compensation from the Kenya Wildlife Service, who they accuse of remaining mum as they lose their livelihoods.
Na KWS lazima ijaribu kuchukua hatua pia ya kuzuia wanyama waache kuingilia mifugo zetu. Tusirudia hali ile tulikuwa naye wakati mwingine miaka chache zilizopita, tukaanza kuingilia kuua masimba. So KWS wachukue hiyo hatua.
And leaders drawn from the Greater Murang'a County have declared the perennial water shortage in the area. Of concern to the leaders is the laxity exhibited by contractors handling several water projects initiated in the region. The politicians are blaming the different water companies for failing to work with them while making decisions about the water platform in the region.
We request that you look at the contractor, because we don't think he's keeping up with the pace, and especially given the completion date. Actually, alijenga ile kitu ya treatment kule ya Badeas, na ni kama imeenda chini.
Meanwhile, Form 1 students at Gitugi Girls High School are all set to begin learning after officials from Kenya Literature Bureau delivered free textbooks as promised by the Ministry of Education. The initiative will see each student receive 6 textbooks as the government remains keen on ensuring access to education for all.
Over the years, we have had issues where schools are given money to purchase textbooks. Yet, when you go to a school, you find there are no textbooks. But this one is a sure way that all students are going to have textbooks, and that no teacher, no principal, no student will say that they failed to perform well because they didn't have textbooks.
And a section of youth leaders want the president to include the youth in his cabinet. The caucus affiliated to the Jubilee Party says the youth have been actively supporting the Jubilee agenda, calling on the president to include them while naming the rest of his cabinet.
Not satisfied with what we are being given. And that perception that the youth should be given the youth docket is not here, nor there. We want the youth docket to be the person in charge of the youth docket to be a youthful candidate. But all the same, we are saying that we are also capable of leading other key departments in the government, not necessarily the youth department only.
Elsewhere, the number of fish stocks are reported to have dwindled sharply in Lake Naivasha in the past months. Traders who depend on the sale of fish for their livelihood, in the dwindling fish stocks, calling on the government to regulate fishing in the lake.
So mali wananchi wenye wana ajira mali wamekimbilia, pia serikali inastahili kukimbilia hapo, waangalie sababu kama hii character beach haijulikani sana, so pia tungetaka ijulikane ndio ili watu wageni waje kwa wingi, na pia kama ni mambo na kufanya restocking isikage sana, sababu ikikaa sana baada ya miezi 6 sijui baada ya miezi ngapi wanakaa sana bila kuongeza samaki kwa bahari.
Representative Gathoni Muchomba has called on the government to increase funding to the National Government Affirmative Action Fund. She argues the fund should be shared equitably as per the county's population. Muchomba says the fund received in Kiambu County is not enough to assist those in need.
Tafadhali tuangaliwe zile counties ziko na constituencies nyingi ama sub counties nyingi na wards nyingi zisilinganishwe na counties ambazo ziko constituencies 3 ama 2.
The gap between exports and imports in the country has been widening rapidly in recent years, with the balance of trade currently at 999.3 billion shillings in favor of imports. To better this, the government has embarked on plans to enhance the country's export performance by growing the manufacturing sector from the current 9% to 15%.
Kenya is now going to focus on manufacturing, and one of the enablers for manufacturing is market access. And exports will play a critical role in the development of manufacturing sector. The aim of government is to grow manufacturing from the current 9% share of GDP to 15% share of GDP in the next 5 years.
Bridge the difference. We expect the manufacturing industry to grow by 15% per annum year on year, so that in the next 14 years to Vision 2030, we have a zero sum with our import and export. So our trade imbalance will our target is to make it zero.
He believes that a thriving manufacturing sector will drive the country's export volumes. To this end, the Export Promotion Council has partnered with product development specialists to assist enterprises in various counties' product development.
Net importer, the brokers are going to have a very, very hard time this time around. We are not going to have importers importing goods that we can.
We have to do product development, and it is now we are going to work with the sector ministries and agencies to develop those products.
He says such programs will not only help to increase foreign exchange, but also forestall the widening trade imbalance.
Bilateral engagements. China is an area we are targeting. China is now, as I looked at the figures, almost a quarter of our imports is coming from China, and only 1% of our exports is going to China. So it is a market we want to change. It's also almost 20% of our imports is from India. And if you look at the average for the last 10 years, around 13%. But again, our exports to India is 1%. Again, it's a huge imbalance.
This, he says, will put more enterprises into the export path, thus creating more job opportunities.
In the grounds of appeal contained in the notice, Ranguma argues that Justice David Majanja erred both in law and fact for failing to appreciate that the burden of proof had shifted to the respondents based on the evidence tendered by the petitioner. Ranguma says that the trial court misinterpreted the grounds of his petition and treated it as one based on contents and substance of Form 37As, 37Bs and 37Cs. Ranguma wants the appellate court to allow his petition and declare the Kisumu gubernatorial elections null and void to pave way for fresh elections. In the appeal notice, the electoral body IEBC County Returning Officer, and Kisumu Governor Professor Anyang' Nyong'o have been listed as respondents.
Now we have applied for certified copies of the proceedings, the rulings and judgments, so that we can sit down and from the contents and substance of those proceedings and the judgments, we can then draw grounds of appeal. These grounds of appeal generally would indicate why Jackton Ranguma is not satisfied with the decision of the High Court.
Elsewhere, 4 former Nairobi County senior officials have been cleared of abuse of office charges. Nairobi former Chief Finance Officer Jimmy Kiamba, former County Secretary Lillian Ndegwa, Regina Rotich, and former Head of Treasury Stephen Osiro were set free after the Milimani Anti-Corruption Court ruled that the prosecution failed to prove its case against the suspects. The former officials denied a total of 10 counts in relation to 17.9 million shillings fraud case. Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Kenya and British firm De La Rue have filed an application seeking to set aside a decision of Procurement Administrative Review Board annulling the contract to print new currency. Justice Chacha Mwita said the decision by the review board was illegal and irrational. De La Rue similarly filed a separate suit seeking to quash the ruling cancelling its contract, saying it was unreasonable. Justice Mwita certified the 2 cases as urgent and both directed CBK and the printing firm to serve the review board with the suit papers. And city lawyer Apollo Mboya and Electricity Consumers Society have filed an application in court seeking to stop Kenya Power and Lighting Company from billing electricity with inflated figures to cover 10.1 billion shillings as contained in KPLC's annual report and financial statements for the year ending 30th June 2017. They also seek an order to stop the company from disconnecting electricity based on the report, which carries inflated and backdated bills and estimates.
I've asked for a declaration that KPLC has made false and misleading representation with respect to the electricity tariffs and bills to its customers, which has infringed on consumer rights. I've asked for another prayer asking that that monopoly of KPLC is unconstitutional.
Finally, 7 Kenyatta University students facing arson charges will have to stay in custody for 5 days after Kiambu Court allowed the prosecution more time to complete investigations. The suspects were arrested on 9th January 2018. They are expected back in court on 16th of January, where they will take plea. Ben Chumba reporting for Scales of Justice.